A lot of people, when they retire, aren't ready to just play golf every day or travel all the time. They want to do some work. So many questions arise. What kind of work can I do in retirement? Private industry, working for the federal government or other government employment in another state does not affect your retirement benefit. A position covered by a different New Jersey retirement system, you can continue with your retirement allowance, but you can't be a member of that system because you've retired from a different pension fund in New Jersey. As an example, you're in the Teacher's Pension Annuity Fund. You want to go work for your local town or county government. Normally those could be, for public employees, PERS, the Public Employees Retirement System, which is another New Jersey retirement system, in addition to the judicial retirement system, state police retirement system, police and fire retirement system. So you could work in that pension fund, but you retired in the TPF, so you can't join that fund. But it doesn't affect your TPF allowance. If you go back to a TPAF eligible position before what they say is your pension's due and payable, that's 30 days after your board of trustee approval date or your retirement date, whichever is later, your retirement is not valid and you're considered an active employee. Membership is required if the position requires certification, employed on a regular basis under contract in a position that's covered by Social Security, and the annual salary is $7,700, and that's 2010, subject to adjustment. That's how you originally got into the pension fund. Remember I told you about the $500 limit when you first were employed? It was $500. The job required certification, either teaching or administrative, and it was covered by Social Security. That qualified you for enrollment in the TPAF. If you return to a position under your TPAF, your allowance is canceled for the duration of that employment. You become an active member again. There's a risk. If you die during the second period of membership, there are no pension benefits from your first membership or your previous membership, including any optional settlements or death benefits. Because if you re-enroll and become an active member in the pension fund again, your pension gets put on a shelf, let's say, and waiting for you to retire the second time. When you do retire the second time, any benefit from the second period of employment would get added in a dollar amount to the first dollar amount. They don't go back and recalculate all the service years on that salary. Only the dollar amounts are put together. If you're over age 60 when you re-enroll, you must prove insurability to get the active life insurance again. That 1.5 or 3.5 times that you had. If you fail to enroll, and you were required to enroll, you're going to have to provide reimbursement to the division for your retirement benefits and any pension contributions you failed to make. Additionally, they could make you repay the health benefits you weren't entitled to if you should have been collecting. And like I said, when you retire again, they then reinstate the first pension and add the second amount to that. If you're working, let's say in education, there are certain things where you can't become a member of the pension fund. Per diem subs, permanent or long-term sub, a replacement for a regular employee who's on an approved leave of absence, provided it's not terminal leave. And the annual salary would be less than the minimum required for $7,700, which is 2010. Now I have to tell you that there will be some changes occurring with this information, because now with the recent pension reform, they changed the enrollment eligibility from a dollar amount, which was $7,700 to a number of hours worked per week, and for the education side, it was 32 hours. The division has not yet done a revision to the employment after retirement bulletin that they have online, fact sheet 28. So there will be some revisions to that. We also believe that that change that was made by the legislature and signed by the government may create problems that the division is not comfortable with, and we may see some fix-it legislation with regard to the number of hours. Can't guarantee it, but I'm just alerting you to that possibility. If you're collecting your Social Security and you have not reached your full retirement age for Social Security, now, you could collect your Social Security at 62. For most of you in this room, your full retirement age for Social Security purposes is probably age 66. So if you're working and collecting in that period, you have to watch how much you make, or you begin to lose part of your Social Security. And in 2010, it's $14,160 a year, or $11.80 a month, if you're working while collecting and haven't reached your full retirement age. There's a suspended allowance due to TPF employment. Your active health insurance is suspended. If it's non-TPF employment, it doesn't affect your state health benefit coverage. And if you go back or you re-enroll, you could take coverage through your new employer if you wanted to. If you're self-employed or you're claiming that you're a consultant, be very careful. There is a strict definition as to what defines an independent consultant, independent contractor. It's an IRS test and standard that determines the relationship between you and the employer. The penalties for you and the worker could be severe if you're claiming you're a consultant and you're really not by definition. If you have questions on that, you can read about that at the IRS website, and that test includes behavioral control, the financial control, and the relationship between you and the employer. That information is also in fact sheet 28, put out by the Division of Pensions. So be very careful. I have been at pension board meetings when people appear before the trustees who have been told by the division that the work that they were doing and claiming that they were an independent consultant is not. And they want them to pay back all the pension benefits they collected during that period of time. It can be very, very costly. And it is costly in a lot of the cases that I've seen. So there are things you can do, but there are rules under which you can do that work if it's in the education and follow those rules.